wasn't too bad at all. I was just concerned about you choking.
Well, it's quite a minute. That's probably how I go. I choke, I think.
I don't.
Do it for me, but I wouldn't want them to.
No, I thought you'd got a piece of food stuck in your throat.
No, it happens to me quite often. My whole stomach comes up.
Yeah.
And it reaches my throat. It's not only when I eat, it's just when I have a drop of water or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Dad used to have it, didn't he? Not as bad as you just had it, but he had it as well.
Anyway, you got home all right? I thought I'll ring you now, and I'll probably go to bed early, so I won't ring you later on. That'll give you time for you to get to bed, when you want to, without me keep ringing you or whatever.
Has Sue been round to see you?
No.
Not yet.
Tuesday was down with her.
Pardon?
Tuesday was down with her.
Okay, Mum. We're just.
I didn't know, but I just saw a motorbike go off, so she must have been there. I don't know whether she worked or not or whatever, but she'll probably be around later on.
Oh.
Anyway, Ness, thank you for coming up to visit me,
Yes.
Well,
okay, Mum, you just have a rest then, and if you need me, I'm here.
yeah, okay. You
All right,
wouldn't
Mum.
desert me, would you?
No, I'm not desert you, but I am concerned. That was quite a bad episode.
No, all right then, Ness. I'll give you a telephone call tomorrow, all right?
All right, Mum.
And again, thank you for coming up. My love to Max and to Nikki and Snowball too. Thinking of them, all right?
Okay, Mum.
Okay, now you take care, all right?
And you, Mum.
Bye, thank you for visiting.
All right,
Bye.
bye, Mum. Hi guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button and please do subscribe. Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 5:53 p.m.
That was my mum ringing me to check back I'd got safely from her flat. Yeah, I was just checking up on my mum. She had a bit of a choking fit after eating a takeaway. My mum doesn't normally eat takeaways, but she decided to have a takeaway with me, and she took a bite out of some chips. She said they were stone cold, and she choked on them. And she went all red in the face, and I thought I was going to have to do a Heimlich manoeuvre, like tap her back and get something out of her throat. It was like something out of those films you see when someone's eating something and it gets lodged and you have to go and hit the back of their neck or their back to get the food out. It frightened me, but my mum was okay and she continued to eat the takeaway afterwards. I told her, I said, if that takeaway is causing you to retch, don't eat it, but she continued to eat the rest of the chips and the rest of the Mexican takeaway. It was Mexican dish with chips. So this morning a taxi arrived for me outside my property and took me up to my mum's, and my mum came out and she wanted to come out because she'd asked me on the phone, because she spends a lot of her time stuck indoors. So she came out and paid the taxi driver. I waited for her. We both went back into the flat and my mum showed me her birthday cards. Now I'd ordered her a birthday card from Thoughtful and it was there, just how I'd written it online, a card with daisies on. Daisies. And inside it said, "Happy birthday, Mum, from Janestra," because that's my real name and that's what my mum called me when I was a baby. It said, "To a lovely mum" on the front. She'd had a birthday card from Uncle Malcolm, and Anne, his wife, has sadly passed away, so she just had a card from Malcolm this year. And she had a very nice birthday card from Sue, her next door neighbour. So my mum had 5 birthday cards in total, including mine, and I saw them. And she'd received the birthday presents I sent her this morning before I arrived. So she had a pair of silver earrings with imitation like blue sapphires and diamonds, and she had a roll-on perfume, Lebanese roll-on perfume that I bought her, and they all came in a nice little gift bag. And my mum opened the presents from eBay in front of me. She put some of the Lebanese perfume on. She was already covered in perfume. I could smell it right down the path. When she came out the door, I could smell it. She was covered in perfume. So I was pleased with the presents my mum had got from eBay. They came well packaged. They were decent. My mum put the earrings on. She liked them, and she put the perfume on. She told me that Sue had bought her a duvet set with daisies on. And that's weird, because I sent a card with daisies on, me, on Thursday. So Sue had got my mum a duvet set with daisies on it. My mum didn't show it to me, but she said there were daisies on it. So I sat down, had a nice chat with my mum, caught up on things, and it was nice and gentle and relaxed. No one rang the phone. No one knocked the door. I didn't hear the postman. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see any of my mum's next door neighbours. I didn't see the postman. Charlotte didn't ring. There was just me and my mum, Jennifer, in that flat together from 12 till nearly 5 o'clock. Nearly 5 hours, just me and my mum sat there talking and catching up with things. My mum did what she usually does, gave me a takeaway leaflet. She said, "You like the super pizza one?" I do. She gave me a Mexican leaflet, and she told me to write down what I wanted. I usually like to get Max a bit of chicken, so I got some chicken nuggets to share with Max, because I take the fried bit off and give him the chicken. I had corn on the cob, just one piece of corn on the cob, and I had a chicken burger and a can of Pepsi. I usually have a dessert like baked cookies or a piece of cake. My mum said that she would like to have a takeaway, so she ordered a Mexican from the same place, and she said, "Can you give me a dessert? Can you give me a Mexican dessert?" And the guy at the end of the phone cut off the call before my mum actually finished properly saying all the order and everything. So I don't know whether I didn't get my dessert because my mum didn't say, or they just cut her off while she was speaking. So anyway, she said, "This is what my mum said, this is not me." The guy rings the buzzer about an hour later, and she's got, see, all that takeaway was not for me. The Mexican dish and the Mexican pudding was not mine. That was my mum's. So my mum comes in with 2 sets of bags. One's got my corn in the cob, a chicken burger, some chicken nuggets which I share with Max, and a can of Pepsi. And in the other hand, my mum's got her plate, a Mexican dish with chips and like a chocolate cake in a triangle. And my mum comes in, and this is what she said: "There was a big fat man at the door." I thought, it sounded like the man that she'd had several times. She's usually an older English gentleman, but she came back and she said it was a big fat man, mail delivery driver. And then it put me off my dinner. I don't know why, but it just put me off my meal. Because I would personally personally wouldn't have described someone as a big fat man. So I actually got put off my dinner. It put me off eating. As soon as you say the word fat to me, I don't know if it happens to other people, but as soon as you say the word fat and you've got food in front of you, it makes me feel fat. So I looked through my bag and I said, Mum, I've got no dessert. And they'd actually put my mum's dinner in a box where they put the baked cookies in. So the little pizza box looked like the box that my chocolate cookies would come in. And they put my mum's dinner in it. My mum said to me, have my dessert. I said, no, Mum, that dessert is yours. I goes, I need to lose weight anyway, because I stop eating just after 6 o'clock now because I want to lose weight. I just wanted to have a chicken burger and a dessert and then not have anything else. So that was spoiled. So this is when my mum starts to choke. She actually started to choke. I was going to call an ambulance. She went like a beetroot in the face. She'd eaten 2 chips, 2. She went red in the face and she was... I went up to go and help her and she went, no. She went, don't look at me. She went, don't look at me. It's exactly how my dad behaved. She went, don't call an ambulance and don't call a doctor. That's what she said to me. And I would have called an ambulance if she hadn't have actually, because she went like a beetroot, really bright red, and I would have called an ambulance. I certainly wouldn't have let my mum sat there choking. Anyway, I said, Mum, if that takeaway has made you like wretch, I said, don't eat it. She said, no, I'm going to eat it. So she forced more chips down herself. She started to eat the Mexican dish, she said, which was a mix of cheese and chicken. And she continued to eat. And I obviously stayed for 2 hours afterwards, making sure she was all right. I just sat there. I couldn't believe it. I think that frightened my mum. I think she actually thought she was dying, because she started to like panic and say things afterwards. But she's all right now. She's spoken to me on the phone, and I knew Sue comes in at 6 o'clock to see my mum as well. And I've said to my mum that, you know, if you need me, you know, just call me. I ate the corn on the cob, I ate the chicken burger, I drank 1 bottle of water. I was watching a Prince William YouTube video on climate change, because he's into climate change and changing the environment like his father Charles. I was watching that. I was watching Meghan Markle's dad and Meghan Markle's family talking about Meghan Markle not talking to her father after he'd had a stroke. So I watched that. So I was watching like some royal videos, and I tried to watch a film, but it's that this was so funny. There was a Jim Carrey film on Freeview, which is a TV channel on Dad's Amazon Fire Stick, and it sounded interesting. And my mum was doing something, so I thought, yeah, I'll check this out. And I turned it on, and there was people like having intercourse. They were humping each other in the introduction. So there was a lot of sex scenes. And I tried to turn it off before my mum sat down and watched the telly, because it was like sadomasochism, you know, spanking and shit going on. And I didn't want my elderly mother to see that, so I was trying to get it off and it wouldn't come off the screen, it kept coming on. So I had to like change, I turned the Fire Stick off, put it on the telly for a minute, and then went back to some YouTube channels. And a film that I got from a charity shop a couple of days ago, a film called Taken, I thought was a horror film, a horror, and it was no more than a B porn movie. You get a few minutes introduction into the film, and then you've got two lesbians having sex with each other. Two lesbians having sex in the film Taken. And these films are in charity shops, and I thought, oh my God, I wanted a horror film, you know, something like The Exorcist or Dracula, and you're into a scene of lesbian sex within 10-15 minutes of watching the film. That's all it is. Just sex all over the place. And I actually wanted to watch a horror film. So me and my mum kindly did some washing for me in her washing machine, because mine is still broken. She didn't look very well. She looked tired, worn out, like she needed a rest. And I get bouts of, it's like really severe indigestion. So I'm trying to eat smaller meals and not eat late at night to try and heal my stomach. So I've been around my mum's most of the day, and then my mum around, I said, Mum, could you please order the taxi about half past 4? And the lady on the end of the phone said to my mum, can you call back in 10 minutes? Because there was no driver available. My mum left it to 5 o'clock. And the driver came out, and the car just felt like it wasn't stable. The car felt like it was rattling. It wasn't stable. It didn't feel like sturdy and safe. It was rattling, and it was driving really slow. So I didn't feel safe in that car, but I kept to the corner of the door in case I needed to get out. It just didn't feel safe. It didn't feel drive worthy, if you know what I mean. It didn't feel like it had passed its MOT, put it this way. It didn't feel safe in the back of that taxi. But I stayed in it. I had 3 bags. My mum had given me 2 boxes of cat food and a box of dog food, some crisps, popcorn and bits and pieces. And she told me to put the heater on for her before I left. Then she shut the back door, and I felt like I was suffocating in the heat, and the heater that she asked me to turn on looked like it was broken and giving off a very nasty, pungent, burning smell. And I said to my mum, can you be careful with that heater? I said, it smells. She said, I'm cold. So the heater was broken, and she'd asked me to turn it on, and then I could smell this pungent, burning smell. And I did tell her that it, and she kept it on, so I can't do anything about that, can I? So the taxi drove me straight outside, nice driver, but the car I felt was not roadworthy, and I was glad to get out of the car. I came into my building. I had items of post, including one from the police. So we've got a letter from the police in Gillingham. And we've got some items I got from eBay last week, including a perfume that I got from my mum, and I was going to take it round there today, but it didn't arrive till later on. Now I'm back in my flat by myself. I've had a shock. I thought my mum was choking to death. My mum is the only person I've got left in the Medway towns at the moment, and what can I say? It's just a bit of a shock. But my mum has got someone going in there tomorrow morning to check on her. As for me, I don't have anybody to check on me. But I mean, life is life, and you just take it one step at a time. And to be honest, when you're dead, you don't feel anything anyway. Well, that's what they say. So, hey ho. Hey ho. That's the only thing about living on your own, isn't it? Especially if your children and relatives don't visit you. That's the only thing about living on your own. If you live totally on your own with no family and they don't come and visit you and no one else does, then, you know, this is where people get left in their flat for a month without being discovered. Do you know what I mean? Because people have direct debits. That's why people don't get discovered as well. Because the direct debits keep coming out until there's no money in the bank. So, you know, it's life. So I'm just going to read this letter from Kent Police. See you later.